So, if you're someone like me, you've probably been wondering, where is Friday Night Funkin'? Well, I may have an answer to this question. It says that they have weekly blogs here, but this link doesn't work. It just takes you back to the Kickstarter. But if you go to the updates page and look at the top post, the following post is from our weekly blog, the funkin.me blog. If we were to go to funkin.me, we would see that this is a blog, an update blog for Friday Night Funkin'. In today's video, we are just going to check out this blog and see all the new updates for Friday Night Funkin'. Let's just get into this. Here on the main page, we just have kind of an info section. We have Friday Night Funkin'. What the funk is Friday Night Funkin'? There's also a resources hub where they have a bunch of modding stuff. Yay! Apparently they have their own incorporation now. The Funkin' Crew Inc. Who the funk is Friday Night Funkin'? The Funkin' Crew Inc. was originally a few bozos who made a rhythm game in a weekend, who then created a Kickstarter campaign that raised over $2 million. Now the Funkin' Crew Inc. is a slightly larger crew of bozos from all over the damn place. Apparently their team is way more now. It's way more than just Ninja Muffin, Phantom Arcade, Kawaii Sprite, and Evil Skater now. Which this is also not a lie, because in their Kickstarter update, which it's kind of old, like I'm surprised no one has really covered this until now, they mentioned Shinji. It's either Shinji or Shingai. I'm pretty sure it's not the second one, but if it is, let me know. They mentioned him who's writing this big update, which is essentially just announcing the Funkin' blog. We're gonna go over this announcement later, which this announcement also tells a little bit of information of why Friday Night Funkin' hasn't received like any release dates or update dates. We'll go over this later though. Release when got a couple of years probably. Huh? Because we love Newgrounds the whole damn long. Text up. What do you guys use? Hacks, Adobe Flash. Adobe Flash is interesting. Okay, so let's check out the meat of this page. Let's check out the blog. So they have a new update from the 1st of August. I feel like we should look at the first one before we look at any of this. This first blog post is from January 10th. I'm just going to keep this blog post short. It just basically says like, oh, this is first official blog post, and you know, it's just like a test post. We're documenting now. The blog is real. It also mentions a person named Cameron, which I'm assuming if it's not one of the main developers, it's probably a new person that they hired. So let's go to the next post. This is literally all just testing. These first few posts are literally just all testing. This one's from January 19th, and it just says, what is BPM? This is basically just a test post again, which also has a GIF that takes you to an audio, which... Let's play this audio and see how it is. Okay, it's a jam. It's a jam. Okay, a 12-minute read for January 23rd. Funkin' blog stuff. Wahoo lol. A lot of this we've already seen already, like the heading, the what is BPM here. But some of this actually has some stuff that we haven't seen. So let's check out what we don't recognize in here. Inputs, scoring, and more. Written on January 20th by Elite Master Eric. Hey, it's me, Elite Master Eric. If you don't know me, I've been helping out with a bunch of programming stuff for Friday Night Funkin' for about a year now. And as of a few months ago, I am a full-time goddamn employee. My work has been mainly related to engine stuff so far, such as refactoring the game to work well with the new modding system I've been developing. A new modding system. If I recall correctly, I think they said something about how this game is going to be super accessible for modding, so that's interesting. I've also been working on a bunch of feature related stuff along the way. Hopefully my musings can help pad out these weekly blog posts. My current focus is refactoring the game's input system. I've done a lot of research into how Haxflixel handles keyboard inputs, and I have a lot of solutions I can try to hopefully make the system feel great. I like this step because if you don't remember when Friday Night Funkin' first came out, the input system was kinda bad. Like whenever you press like 2 keys at a time, it would only register for 1, which made you miss like a lot of notes. You know, that was a really big issue, which I'm glad that they're taking time to polish their input system. I don't really feel like reading the rest since it's kind of just like nerdy details on how they're doing it. Scoring. On a similar note, I've also been thinking about how the game handles scoring, and I put out a little survey. Quick survey. When playing Friday Night Funkin', do you pay attention to your in-game score, or do you ignore it in favor of other metrics of like accuracy and whether UFC /SFC the song? It's pretty clear from this that the in-game scoring system is ignored by the vast majority of the player base. That's fair, considering that many of them are rhythm game veterans, me, and will only ever care about the accuracy percentage. But for a game with an arcade-like feel such as Friday Night Funkin', it's a problem that so few people are invested in high scores, especially as we want the game to have a proper leaderboards in the future. So according to Eric, the scoring system is going to have a revamp as well, which as a rhythm game player, personally, I don't really care about score, but I feel like it's a essential if you want online leaderboards. Like, take Osumania or Osu, for example. They use score to determine what spot on the leaderboard is. Even if the system is a little flawed, I think it should personally stay. Mod stuff. You may have seen this already, but a bit ago I was working on the code tied to the mod loader. With some help from Uncertain Prod on GitHub, I was able to get the asset loading system working for zip mods on desktop and web. And what does this MP4 take to? So there's an asset loading system for Friday Night Funkin'. This is going to be definitely useful for modders. I personally don't have much to say since I don't mod for the game, but I think it's neat. And that should catch you all up on what I'm working right now. I bet those haters who said the Kickstarter is a scam and we spent all the money on crack feel pretty stupid right now. Snoop. You can look out for more posts from me on this blog, the one you're looking at right now, or follow me on Twitter where I post random stuff sometimes. Oh, look at Gilbert. Oh my gosh. So that's where this blog post ends. I think I've learned a lot from this blog post, especially from what's happening, like, you know, what kind of changes they're doing, which I'm going to comment about this sentence right here. I feel like if this blog post was advertised a lot more, I feel like people would stop saying it was a scam. Oh boy, State of Funkin' Biz, Q1 2023 by Ninja Muffin 99. So I decided to skip reading Ninja Muffin's message in this video because it took me about 10 minutes in the VOD just to read it all. But I'm still going to tell what I learned from this post in a paragraph summarization. Here we go. In 2022, the core Friday Night Funkin' team realized that they needed to work on organization for the game since production was inconsistent and there were miscommunications. So they first figured out payroll and how they got paid, making an automated system to pay new workers and contractors, also dealing with taxes. Then they realized that they needed a proper person to help them with managing production and workflow. So Ninja Muffin spent a few weeks going full-time hiring manager, making sure they had the right person to help make sure the game gets managed. Which Ninja Muffin believes that they got a good pick. They still have a lot of work to do for the game and the business, but they're taking steps to accelerate productivity. Now, for my thoughts, I think this post shows that they weren't just messing around until 2023 to start working on Friday Night Funkin'. It sounded like they were organizing everything together to prepare a larger crew that's going to dedicate the next few years or more of their life just to this game. Anyway, back to the video. Friday Night Funkin' Biz seems a lot more complex than it feels like it should be. You'd expect, like, making a game to be all that simple, but when you kind of, like, get in their own world of, like, how they've been doing things, it seems like it's a lot more complex. So, from this post on, they actually started to posting weekly. Which, these are definitely long reads. I'm not going to go over them all in this video because that would be forever. Although, if you guys would like an audiobook for me reading out all these announcements, let me know in the comments, and I may just do it. So I'm looking at the February 10th post. Apparently a lot of the Friday Night Funkin' merch that was promised in the Kickstarter is actually going out to people. It was mentioned in this January 27th post as well, so that pins, posters, and whatnot should hopefully be beginning manufacturing sometime next week. So over the rest of this blog, we're most likely going to see more Kickstarter reward updates. So this is actually where the Kickstarter update is, which I promised I would read that. Let's read the notable bits from this post. I'm going to say Shinji's. Shinji's Kickstarter update, plus pins and posters beginning manufacturing. The following post is from our weekly blog, the Funkin.me blog, which is actually how I figured out that this blog existed. So up to all the awesome Friday Night Funkin' backers. It's been a while, sorry about that. This is going to be a special Kickstarter update since part of it is going to be done by yours truly, Shinji, aka Shamwayne on GitHub. Normally Ninja Muffin works on the Kickstarter updates himself, and he's been working on a massive blog post detailing everything that's been happening in the past several months, which I think we read that earlier. But this is just a special update to introduce myself and all of our new Funkin' blog. Yeah, hype music, woo! This entire part is just Shinji explaining themselves. I don't really feel like reading it. So what's this Friday Night Funkin' blog all about? The blog is mostly designed for weekly updates with news, devlogs, and overall fun little articles from all the members of the Funkin' crew. That includes me too. There's currently 3, probably 4 by the time this is out. Updates from everyone, including stuff like the new input system survey, my really awesome post on Kickstarter backend stuff, plus missing survey info, as well as the really awesome Funkin' Resources GitHub page. They need to reorganize this though. I really couldn't tell which one was like the first post and which one was like actual posts. I know the big question though is why make an entire blog instead of Kickstarter updates? Well, the first and easiest answer to that is allowing the entire crew to post updates easily without first asking someone like Ninja Muffin for access to post a Kickstarter update. Like the semi update actually took a bit of coordination to set up. Imagine instead of 2 people, it was 5 people who wanted to post their own Funkin mini update as well. So yeah, I feel like the Funkin blog is definitely a more useful tool than just posting updates on the Kickstarter for that reason. Secondly, most of the posts in the blog right now are quite long because it's the first time most of them have intros, duh. But a lot of the times, updates are probably going to be not much longer than a normal tweet or two. Based off the way these reads are, I'm not too sure if that's been the case. Now, we could just use Twitter and post our updates there like we were doing before, but it's already been improving how annoying of an idea it is. Nobody wants to follow 10 different Twitter accounts and sit through cat photos and memes so they can get an update for the game. I spelled a mistake, by the way. I used to be that guy, and trust me, it wasn't fun. Shouts to all the other various Twitter Friday Night Funkin' news accounts, although a lot of them include mods, so it's hard to filter for vanilla stuff. Fans in the comments and quote retweets, and people like Lendon on YouTube for keeping people posted in the meantime. We got you now, although please keep saving posting about Twitch bots. Lendon's channel is now gone. I don't know if they changed that or something. Last but not least, I think having the more mundane and less critical devlogs be separate from the actual Kickstarter post makes things less cluttered. Imagine if all of our little blog posts and tweets were separate Kickstarter posts and there were practically daily or even hourly updates. It would be kinda chaotic for most people. Having the last Kickstarter post be 6 months ago is pretty wild, and I'll try to bug everyone to make sure it doesn't happen again. No promises though. It kinda happened again, I'm not gonna lie with you. But it's all but guaranteed at this point that everyone has read that post and knows what it's about. The plan with the Kickstarter has always been to keep the update frequency at roughly a monthly play. They are not sticking to this, so that any important updates and survey rewards info doesn't get lost in the sauce, but it's still regular enough to prevent massive walls of text per update. Oops. Of course, it's not perfect, nothing in game dev ever is, unfortunately, but I think it's a pretty decent compromise. Plus, it's weekly, so you always have something to look forward to reading every Friday/Saturday, depending on your time zone. That definitely aged well with this being the last post on the Kickstarter. To be fair, they have been kinda keeping up on the blog, kinda. Like in these recent posts, they've been inconsistent, but generally they've been just updating. Ooh, this is gonna be juicy. Obligatory when game update. Slightly spicy, but NDA edition. You probably can't talk about it that much. So I know this is the part everyone really wants to know. I've totally been there as well, desperately paying for some delicious Friday Night Funkin' news. Unfortunately, my lips are sealed tight when it comes to any surprises or really cool stuff. Bummer. What I can tell you though is everything that's been already mentioned with the tweet or an AMA, there's a lot that's been revealed already with a little extra context from being part of the crew, plus the perspective of coming in as a fan of the base game, waiting for the updates as well. Reading this line right here, it kind of implied that Shinji was like first a fan and then like got hired. Hiring fans for your dev team is actually a good idea because they like your game. Like, of course they're gonna like try and help. Oh boy. First things first, the game and update is real. Although between the things the team is currently up to, biz meetings in the morning, coordination, strategy, content meeting, and work in the afternoon, and purely productive game work, yada yada. Setting a release date is kind of daunting with all the other stuff that needs our attention. Actually, I need to explain something first before we get to that. Oh, before a release date. Yup, the next Friday Night Funkin' update is going to be more like a V-slice, vertical slice, of the full game than just an update. V-slice is the closest thing that describes what we're doing, because if you use the definition, it's described as a fully playable portion of a game that shows its developer intended player experience. This means its key features and systems are all working together properly, complete with assets that represent, and this is important, final quality. This is completely different from a prototype or even the demo, in that it's representative of what you expect from the full game as a whole. That means whatever systems, mechanics, UI interfaces, and tools the full game will launch with have to be fully done or as close to final quality and polish as possible. I won't bore you with the game dev lesson. There's plenty of articles on it, like the one I already referenced, this one as well, and this one. Man, this is a long article. If I were to read all this, it'd be even longer. So, V-slices, they're cool, right? Like I said, that's just the closest definition I can think of since we already been funded, and most V-slices are designed as pitches to publishers. But there's one other thing they're good for, testing your production pipeline end to end. Right now, I know a lot of people, and myself before, were expecting the next update to be more or less the same as all the previous Friday Night Funkin' updates from before Kickstarter. A couple of erect mode remixes plus 1 or 2 new weeks to play added to the already existing game. Nah, not really. Sure, the update might kind of have that stuff in it, but it's quite a bit more complicated than just new levels. Yeah, with what they were talking about in the Kickstarter goals, it definitely seems like it's a lot more than just new levels. Like, that is a lot of content you're adding to the game. The previous engine, although pretty cool, was made with sweat, tears, and quite a lot of duct tape to hold everything together. As the game keeps expanding and the game became more and more ambitious, it became a hassle to just add new content without everything breaking apart at the seams and crashing. That is game design for you. That is just game design. So the engine's been pretty much rewritten from the ground up to be more efficient, faster, and support extra content that was planned but couldn't be added to the previous week due to engine limitations. Wow, so they had to rewrite the whole code for the game. That is wild. Yup, that's right. I personally recommend you play the game from week 1 again, although my lips are sealed to what specifically I mean by that. They probably updated week 1's engine, which week 1 is the tutorial level, I believe, right? So they probably did a little secret update to the engine somehow on the Newgrounds version, which we don't know about. Accessibility pipeline. Phantom Arcades talked and showcased this one on stream, so it's probably cool to talk about. Friday Night Funkin' as a game is currently pretty restricted. That's literally only in English, and the accessibility options were extremely limited before. Not a really big deal in demo, but for a professional full game, that's not very good. Game translations, though, for all the text in the game means exporting and formatting all the text in a translation-friendly way, sending and getting it back, and even when you get it back, coding a system for choosing the correct text and or audio to display/play when someone chooses a particular language. Yep, that's how much coordination and work is needed to just get languages in the game, although the whole team would agree it's totally worth adding that in. This much for just translations, a lot. Dude, game development is so hard. Not going to talk about this too much before the FNF ninjas track me down and put a pipe on my mailbox, but there's a lot of work and polish going into this section. Although that's to be expected from a rhythm game, right? And related stuff. UI, UX, and mechanic stuff. Friday Night Funkin' pre-Kickstarter was pretty bare bones in that regard. In fact, I can think of stuff like A, B, and C most rhythm games have by default, which Friday Night Funkin' didn't have until the upcoming update. That's also stuff that needs coordination from all the various departments of the team. Friday Night Funkin' before week 7 had a lot of things that were missing from the game. Like, they updated the input system in week 7, which that was my main complaint with the game. There's also a lot of other stuff that was missing that I can't think of right now. Editor Flame, you can just put a list of a bunch of things that were different before week 7 came out. Final thoughts on the when game update. Having the next update transition from a basic content update to a more of a B-slice approach is normally considered an incredibly expensive process time and effort-wise, which the recent delays for the update can attest to. But it was extremely necessary to get all the pipelines and team coordination in order. There's a lot of pipeline processes which, if done correctly at this stage, will make things that used to take several days just take a few hours to do instead. Why is that important? Well, as ambitions increased, weeks started taking significantly more time to develop, which overall sucks for everyone. By streamlining and optimizing all of our processes upfront, it's the difference between being able to make 3 things a year versus something like 10 to 15 things. There will definitely be new content in the next update. Don't worry about that. Yep. Even the people who play the leaks. In fact, the biggest misconception everyone has right now is that new content is the biggest hurdle right now. It's not. Next update content is mostly there right now. But the priority right now is elevating Friday Night Funkin' into a real game and not just a fancy little prototype with a few levels that will come out here and there. Like we promised, cartoon rhythm gaming excellence. Yes. I'm glad they're doing this because I definitely want cartoon rhythm game excellence. Like, I want something like Parappa, which if you can't tell, I'm such a huge fan of Parappa. Like, I love the game. A lot more shipping stuff. Yeah, a lot more Kickstarter things. And that's basically this entire thing. Which, as another Denzel Curry song. I love Denzel. Thank you, Ninja Muffin, for picking these songs. So, as you can tell, it's now August 16th as I'm recording this, and there hasn't been a single Kickstarter update yet. There's been a bunch of blog posts, which has been inconsistent. I think this blog is neat and all, but it still has its fair share of issues with organization and communication. In the Kickstarter comments, there's people talking about how they haven't received backer items yet, or that they don't have access to the portal. The portal is where all the backer updates are located, by the way. This comment right here exemplifies the problem. Almost Q3 of 2023 and still no update from Kickstarter or Neil Juice about my vinyl OST, while people have had these for months. Only one reward, the Tankman statue, shipped already. I've already been charged for the vial years ago and haven't gotten any update whatsoever. I also haven't seen any survey sent to me. The only one I can find is under my pledge details that I answered back in May 2021. It's a very mixed bag, as there's also people who have received items, but you can definitely see where the problem lies. People don't know about the blog or portal, there's no public Kickstarter list that says what's been shipped and what hasn't, and there's a lot of people left in the dark about what's happening. I'll give some benefit of the doubt to the Friday Night Funkin' team, as it's only been 2 years and simultaneously working on products and game developing does take longer than people would expect. But there needs to be more frequent clarity and organization for this information. I shouldn't be having to dig for old updates in the blogs/creators Twitter just to find out if the game is making good progress or if products will ever arrive. As this comment says, I'm glad I got my cassette, but I really wish we got better and more frequent updates. And that's my thoughts. If you guys want to check out the Kickstarter/blog for yourself, the link is in the description. Also, let me know in the comments if you want me to read more to the blog/Kickstarter. Thank you guys for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, please like and subscribe, and go check out the video of us covering the Kickstarter when it first came out, just so you can see how my thoughts have changed. Don't forget to go check out my second channel and join Discord, because all my updates for videos will be posted there. I'll see you guys next time. Thank you for watching.